Hello, this is Father Summerlin from St. Elizabeth's Seton Parish in Carmel, Indiana. Today, on this fourth Sunday of Easter, we celebrate what is called the World Day of Prayer for Vocations. Today, the Church asks us to specifically pray for more vocations of the priesthood, diaconate, and consecrated religious life. This does not mean that the other vocations are not important. In fact, marriage is given a whole week dedicated to it in February of every year. But on this day, the Church asked us to focus on the vocations to priesthood, diaconate, and religious life. Today, I want to address this short video to all the young women out there. Young women, I ask you, have you considered the religious life? Has the thoughts of becoming a religious sister or a nun crossed your mind from time to time? Do you desire to dedicate your whole life to Jesus Christ and to the church? These are very beautiful vocations. Vocations that only you women can be given. Oftentimes we use the word religious sister and nun interchangeably, but they are actually different. A religious sister is a consecrated woman who has an active or apostolic life, meaning that she more than likely lives in community with other sisters, but she has some sort of ministry, some sort of apostolate. Some religious sisters work with the poor. Some are teachers at schools. Some have ministries in parishes. So that's why they're called the active life or contemplative life. So that's what we call religious sisters. A nun is a consecrated religious woman who is cloistered, who lives in community with other sisters but does not leave that convent or monastery. Their job is to stay in that convent or monastery and to pray for the world, their prayers which we desperately need. But nuns and religious sisters have something in common, and that is they all take vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience. And they are both what we call brides of Jesus Christ, meaning that they have a spiritual marriage to Jesus Christ himself. How beautiful that is. There is also a vocation that I would like to speak about today for you women, and that is called a consecrated virgin. This vocation is not as well known because we actually have one woman in our diocese, but I hope that there will be many, many more, because the more I learn about it, the more beauty I see that's there. A consecrated virgin belongs to what is called the Order of Virgins, which is an order that was known in Christian communities ever since the time of the 12 apostles. This is open to women only, and these women have a particular link to the church in which they are committed to serve while remaining in the world. Their life is lived individually, and they are entered into it by a rite of consecration by the bishop. In the rite of consecration, the bishop consecrates the virgin as a sacred person in the church. And in the rite of consecration, he asks her 3 questions. Those 3 questions are you resolved to persevere to the end in the days of virginity and in the service of God and his church? Are you resolved to follow Christ and to be a faithful witness of his love? Are you resolved to accept solemn consecration as a bride of Christ? And then the woman would answer the affirmative, I do. So you can see there's no formal vows, but it's she responding in affirmative to the bishop's questions, because it's revealing something very profound. It's showing that this vocation is God's initiative, that God is asking her to do this, and she is saying yes in response. And therefore, because it's God's initiative, it can never, ever be undone. Just like religious sisters and nuns, consecrated virgins are also brides of Jesus Christ. They constitute a special image of the heavenly bride. Another very beautiful vocation that is an option for you young women out there. Religious sisters and nuns have been a big part of my life. I worked with the religious sisters in the Bronx, New York, the sisters that were part of Mother Teresa's order, the Missionaries of Charity. A girl I knew from high school became a Dominican sister and is now teaching in a school. I'm familiar with the Dominican sisters at Our Lady of Mount Carmel and St. Theodore Garin. I went to school and seminary with some religious sisters that were Franciscans whose job was to serve the poor. And actually, the consecrated virgin in our diocese I know very well and have learned so much from her about her vocation. So young women, I ask you to be open to these vocations. In fact, just in my short time here at St. Elizabeth Seton, a handful of you young women have told me that you have thought about that vocation to religious life and nun, to that consecrated life. And I know there's more out there. I know there's more. So please consider it. Please be open to it. Being a bride of Christ is an extremely beautiful vocation. If that's something that you were called to, you'll be completely fulfilled and happy and joyful. God bless you.